Alright, so now it's time to go ahead and make the moldings for this bottom hallway and the other larger hallway on the first floor. So let's take this object here and let me clean this up. You can see we have some edge loops up here that were created when I was extruding stuff that we really don't need. So I'm going to select both of those edges, select their loops, control backspace to get rid of that, clean that up. Alright, I'm going to go to polygon mode, turn ignore backfacing off. I'm going to select these polygons right there, and I'm going to rip this off, making a clone, of course. Hold down shift to do that. Clone it as a separate object. I'm going to select that object. See, the pivot point is off, so let's go to the hierarchy tab, go to effect pivot point, center to object, just for now. And the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take the vertices here on this end, and I'm going to go to align. I'm going to align that in the x-axis. I'm going to do the same thing over here to the other side. Once that's done, let's go back and change that pivot point. I have to take this pivot point and I'm going to place it on the top back corner right here. Okay, similar to what we did with the baseboards, but you have to make sure the pivot point is up here in this back top vertex. Okay, so I have my master molding object here that I'm going to be using for the first floor down there. Again, a little bit hard to see. Stuff's getting in the way. Let me place this over here in kind of the center of the room. And I'm going to make a clone of that. And I'm going to rotate it about 9 degrees this way. This hallway is pretty easy to do. You notice that we have a little bit of an issue here. This sort of little archway is too narrow. If we place the molding there, it's not going to fit because the molding is about 6 inches wide. And it's just not going to fit. Well, in this case, it's okay. We just won't put a molding on that wall. It wouldn't make sense to do so anyway. So we're just going to put a molding on this wall to the left and the wall on the right. And it's going to look okay. It's going to be just fine. So I'm going to take this guy and snap him up there. Then I'm going to take the end vertices here. Make sure you have snapping turned off. And you're just going to stick them into the wall. You don't even have to be totally precise about that. It's not going to make a difference. No point in wasting time on something that's trivial. I'm going to clone that one out as well. And I'm going to rotate this one about 180 degrees. I'm going to take this guy and snap him up there. Snap him to that vertex right there. And because both sides of the walls, both walls right there are the same exact geometry, same size and everything, we don't really have to make any adjustments there. It works. So that hallway is done. Okay, that's the easy part. Now we're going to do a little trickier part here. Let's take the master molding piece there. We're going to make a clone. And we're going to snap this guy. It's getting a little bit hard to see. I have a lot of geometry getting in my way. So I'll tell you what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a front view here. Let's go to wireframe mode. I'm going to go to polygon mode and make sure ignore backfacing is off. And I'm going to turn on window crossing. And I'm going to grab all those top polygons right there. So all this stuff, including the little balcony there, little balcony hallway. And I'll show you in perspective view what I have selected. All this top stuff that we don't really need at the moment to get in our way. So I'll go to visibility, hide selected. And that should help us out a bit. Maybe I'll even take the staircases here. And I'll just activate see-through mode for those guys. And then hopefully that'll help me out. Okay, so let's take this guy and snap him up back there. Okay. All right. Not bad. Gonna move him out a little bit like so. Basically, gonna try to use the same technique we used for the baseboards before with the Pro Booleans. If it works very well. If it doesn't, I'll have to troubleshoot. So I'll turn that like so, take these vertices, move them back that way, Let's take this guy and move that like that. And take this guy here. I know I have to turn him about 180 degrees that way. You see where I have to stick this guy to. That back vertex right there. And the front part is good. Okay, let's take this guy right here and let's clone him. Let's rotate him 180 degrees. Let's snap him right there, and let me make sure he's snapped in the right place. Okay, move him a little bit like so, and looks like we're good. Now, kind of the moment of truth. We're going to use Pro Boolean, see if we can kind of cheat our way a little bit, save us some time. Let's go to Geometry, Compound Objects, Pro Boolean. Make sure you have intersection turned on. Start picking, and that didn't work out too well. Let's try the other one. That really didn't work out too well. Okay, so let's try this. Take all the polygons, flip the normals. Take this guy here, flip his normals. Take this guy here, flip his normals. And let's cross our fingers here and see if it works. Okay, that one seems to have worked. And that one seems to have worked. Not bad. Okay. Now for that last one over here, might end up proving to be a little bit of a problem. We'll see. Times like this is when Murphy's Law tends to kick in. If you're not familiar with Murphy's Law, go ahead and do a little Google search on that. See what I'm talking about. Okay. And there we go. That worked out pretty well. Very nice. I'm happy with that. Convert it back to an editable poly, select all the polygons, and flip the normals. And we have ourselves a very nice molding right there for that area. But you notice that we have a little bit of an issue here. And the issue here is the archway is a little bit too low, about an inch too high actually, over the molding, which presents a problem back here. We don't want to see the back of the molding. So we could sit here and try to rebuild the archway and go through a lot of trouble and work and extra stuff and waste time. I'm not going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to go to a front view here, go to wireframe mode. I'm going to go to vertex mode here, take window crossing off. And with this object selected, I'm just going to select all the bottom vertices. And I'm just going to move them up so it's just above the end of the archway right there. Okay? And there we go. The problem is now solved. It's just above it. It was a small change. In case you're asking, well, why didn't you do that over here to this hallway? That's because the change would have to be extremely drastic. So drastic that it would change the complete look of the molding. And it would look like a totally different molding than what we have in the rest of the house, which would hurt our consistency and our continuity. Okay? So by taking that and just adjusting those vertices by about an inch, it doesn't make a difference that's too big, too harsh, which is acceptable. Okay? Again, no point in wasting a ton of time on trivial things. So I'm going to take the master object here and delete that one, don't need it. And for the baseboards, I'm going to delete the master object from that. Don't think I need it. If I ever realize I made a mistake and I need to bring that stuff back, it's very easy. Using the previous technique that I showed you, you can always rip a piece off the original piece that's up here. So you can always go back and get yourself a master object, no problem. Alright, so just make sure that you're continually saving your work. This video is going to end right here, and in the next video we're going to continue and move on to other parts of the house.